Good Tuesday to you, everybody in com/gov 664. Welcome to week boom 3. How is everybody doing this summer? Let's get this week 3 kicked off correctly with a little afternoon coffee in my one of my many favorite Route 66 cups, hoppers. Very nice place to get a burger. A little bit of a break after a long trip on trail down in the Ozarks and the Ouachita Mountains. Okay, how are you doing? You doing okay? Week 3 of week only 8 weeks. So bam, we are, as of next week at the halfway point. These summer sessions go really, really fast, which could be a good thing or not a good thing. All right, so what are we doing for this week? The readings this week, we're going to take a look at the potential and even the design of media to influence election outcomes. And boy, howdy, as the saying used to go where I grew up, have we seen a lot of this over the last, decade or so. Really amped up, I would argue, since the election of 2016. Starting with the media drumbeat about Russian collusion, and then on sort of the other side of the political spectrum, the constant repeat about election falsification. Now, here's the important thing to note as you read PIP and MAP. Okay. When we say the potential for media to influence an election, we're not suggesting that anything that the media might say they're making up out of whole cloth. That is, it's not to say that there is no truth to what they're saying. And by noting that, I'm not saying that there was Russian collusion, and I'm not saying that there was election fraud. Okay, so 2016 to 2020. I'm not going to give you my opinion on those two, but that's not the point. That's not what we're getting at here. But rather, what you find most commonly is that the media will focus on a particular element of a story and repeat it, or engage in a process. The linguistic term is sophistry, in which you take a minor issue of an event or an explanation. You take something that's really insignificant, and then you tell people that it is the most significant thing, and then you keep harping on that. Okay, so and you got to watch out for sophists. They're all over the place. Okay, and so for instance, this is off track of media, but I'll give you an example of what sophistry is. If you find, I spend a lot of time outdoors and on trail, and in order to do that, I spend a lot of time working out and staying in the best shape that I can. Okay, so if you watch, videos or read content, and they're heavy gear oriented because there's good money. And so what you find is, these are the shoes that you need for the performance that you want. Okay, I mean, I'm going to tell you flat out that unless you're talking about a very specialized application, like say ice climbing, the types of shoes that you have on your feet, let's just say straight running, the types of shoes that you have on your feet are one of the least important things in determining your overall performance, that is your ability to run. All right. But someone constantly telling you that the shoes are the most important thing, or greatest importance, or the primary focus, that's an example of sophistry, a sophistic approach to the practice of running. Okay. Watch for this in the media. Okay. and you'll be able to identify it if you spend a little time contextualizing the story, that is, to put it into the broader context. There's an app I want to recommend to you, and I don't have any affiliation with this app, with the people, the company that puts it out, so it's not like this is some sort of a promotional pitch, but it's called Ground. All right, let me just pull it up right here. And it goes on your smart device. See, it's right. It's that little next to the red one, right there. Okay, Ground. Let's see if I can get that to focus. Okay, and what Ground does, and it's a subscription-based app, is it will give you the major stories, and you can set it for areas that you're interested in, and even your local media. Okay. And then it will give you where this story is being covered, and then it will give you the political leanings of those publications that are covering it. Okay, so let me just take an example. Let's see. Okay, so here's a story. The headline is Cardi B on Biden. People got betrayed. Okay. Grammar, Cardi. Okay. So down here at the bottom, people got betrayed. Down here at the bottom of the story lead, okay, you see these are the places that it's being published, being covered. And then right there in the middle, there's left, right, political spectrum. And then right there in the middle, it says that most of the coverage is centrist, center. It falls in between left and right. All right. And there it gives you an actual rating for the following places that it's being covered. Okay. Has only 24% center political coverage in the following publications, so on and so forth. Okay. What Ground does is allows you to see how stories are being framed. And this is the term that we use in media, in which media outlets are not only telling you what the story, what is news, okay, but they're telling you what elements of the story are actually important and you should be focusing on. That's where you find sophistry. And one of the ways to sniff it out is to look at a wide range political spectrum of stories that get covered. And really, actually, that's the only way to sniff these things out. Okay. So that's what we're going to be looking at this week during week 3. All right. How is it, through what means and modes does media have the potential to influence an election? And it's an interesting question because it goes to the heart of what the media is here for. Is it? Because remember, last week we discussed how media has a very specific carve out within the function of our state, our nation state, that is to be this protector between us and the state. But in the design of our state, media was not set up to be an influencer or a political decider. Which begs the question, when does transparency, that is the insistence on media that we, the citizenry, see what our government is doing, all right? When does that activity, because to see what your government is doing, you have to have reports on things that maybe those in positions of power don't want you to know. Okay, so when does that become influence of the political process and promotion of political ideologies and parties? I think you could make an argument clearly and substantially that we're now in an age in which, regardless of the initial function that was carved out for media, media assumes, not all, but most media assumes that its role is political influence and political sway, that is moving the population to vote for a particular candidate, sign on to a particular ideology, support or oppose a particular position. Okay, and you'll notice in the questions that I'm giving you, I end most of them with the question, is this good for our democracy? For us to be doing this? And, as the old saying goes, you get the government that you vote for. So the same is true with the media. You get the media that you watch, right? And if you're not happy with the state of media, I mean, the way to make a scary clown go away is just don't pay any attention to it. All right. The marketplace for today's media is such that, minus a consistent and robust viewer stream, that, I mean, there's just too much competition. CNN Plus is an example. Just, gone. Okay. So it's possible for the citizenry to influence how the media tries to influence the citizenry. But it requires, one, that we pay attention to what the media is doing, and then two, that we take action. So what that, remember we're talking about this triangulation this semester between the citizenry, will put us up top, the media and the government. And that means that at the top of the pyramid, the top of the triangle, we as citizens do not look at ourselves as helpless, passive consumers. And, oh, well, I guess they're just going to give us what they're going to give us. No. Okay. That's what we're doing this week. Okay. Let me say a little bit about the assignments and the discussions, because last week I noted that for this semester, I will allow you to work ahead and get as much of this done in advance as you like. All right. So, for instance, to the movie reviews, which are a major component of this class, you could watch all 4 of them and post them this week. That, fantastic. Discussions, likewise. I think I have now week 5 up. I'll post the last 2 in the next couple of days. There's not going to be any discussion, reading during week 8. That's when you'll have your exam. If you want to work ahead, it's week 3 now, but you want to start reading and getting ahead to week 5 and answering the questions, great. Now, remember, though, that you need to participate in the discussion to get full points. So you're going to have to jump in, during that week and say, oh, take a look. And please, if you notice from my grading of week 1, I will give you full points if you participate in, number 1, answering the questions, and number 2, the discussion. I need a little water. I'm not going to take points away if you get things wrong. You'll see in the discussions, right or wrong answer. And much of what I'm asking is your evaluation. Okay. And I'm not going to take points away if you do agree, if you don't agree with your classmates. Where I will withhold points, and say take it away as if you've got it already. Where I will withhold points is if your discussion with your classmates is so banal that it could be just a form letter. I mean, something like, oh, hey, great point. I never thought about it that way. It's like, snooze, man. Say something substantive. And remember, you can answer, I'll give you 6 or 7 options. You can answer any 3 of those that you like, and you can engage in a discussion with your classmates of any 3 of those that you like, the 3 that you answered, or some that you didn't, or mix and match. That's all up to you. All right. So you can work ahead, but you have to engage in the discussions. You can work ahead with the movie reviews, and there's no discussion there. So, get them all done. But what you can't do, and I want to emphasize this, is work behind. All right. Do not get behind on the discussion or the movie reviews. So, for instance, the first film review was due May 20th. That's yesterday. And looking at it, I see there's still a couple of people who haven't turned it in. Okay. Letting you work ahead to take a little pressure off. And some of you have already contacted me saying, I'd like to do this because it's June, man. I have a vacation planned. I'm doing things differently than I would do during the normal academic year. I understand that. Okay, that's fine. We can all work around that. So maybe you want to work ahead and get on top of this stuff. Great. Okay. But what you cannot do is get too far behind, because if you turn in the work late, then I will either not accept it at all or make significant point deductions. And for an 8-week class in which things go, and I know it, things go bam, bam, bam. You don't want to lose points and get far behind, because it's just, you're like leaving money on the table. Don't do that. Okay. All right. So I will have the last 2 weeks posted. The way to prepare for the final exam is going to be make sure that you're familiar with the readings, and be familiar with the readings in such that you could answer any of the questions, okay, that are listed during a discussion week. You could proffer an opinion. So maybe you only pick 3, but you've read through the material such that you're familiar enough with all of the questions for that week, because it'll be from those questions that I will draw the outline, the material for the final exam. And I'm you don't need a review sheet. Okay. All right. Okay, everybody. If you have any questions, I'm here. So lonely during my office hours. Give me a call or shoot me an email, or a text, and I'll get right back to you as soon as I am able. If you haven't done that first film review, get on it, man, because it's past due. And if you want to work ahead to give yourself a little breathing room as you move into June, you're welcome to do that. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for all your hard work. I will see you this week on Canvas. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.